Alex and Maya had been married for 5 years, with 3 beautiful children to show for it. To outsiders, their marriage seemed perfect, successful, wealthy, and happy. However, the reality was far from perfect. Maya had been feeling unfulfilled in their marriage, particularly in the bedroom. She longed for sex, for passion, for satisfaction. But every time they made love, Maya felt like something was missing. She tried to brush it off, thinking maybe she was just being too sensitive, but as time went on, Maya couldn't shake off the feeling. She began to feel like she was just going through the motions, like she was just pretending to be happy. She felt unheard, unseen, and unfulfilled. Maya tried to talk to Alex about it, to explain how she was feeling. "I don't feel satisfied," Maya would say, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do you mean?" Alex would reply, his voice laced with confusion. I don't feel like we're connecting," Maya would explain. "I feel like we're just going through the motions." Alex would just shrug, telling Maya that she was overreacting, that everything was fine. But Maya knew that it wasn't fine. She knew that something was missing, something that is very important to her. Maya sat alone in the dimly lit sitting room, tears streaming down her face. She cried out to God, her voice shaking with despair. "Oh, God, why? Why did you give me a husband who can't satisfy me? I never knew this was how it would be, but I never thought it would be this hard. I asked for a loving husband, but it seems like that's too much to ask. I've given him 3 beautiful children," Maya sobbed. "But that doesn't mean I don't need to be satisfied as a woman. I need to feel loved, to feel desired. But Alex just doesn't seem to care. He's always so quick to finish, to release. I doesn't even seem to enjoy it anymore." Maya wiped her tears with the back of her hand. She knew she couldn't keep living like this. She needed to do something, to take control of her own happiness. "God, please," Maya prayed. "Give me direction. Show me what to do. I don't want to live like this anymore. I wants to be satisfied on bed just like other women do." With newfound determination, Maya decided to confront Alex. She couldn't keep living in a loveless marriage. She needed to know what was wrong, and she needed to find a solution. "Alex," Maya said, her voice firm but shaking with emotion. "We need to talk. I think we should go to the hospital, to see if there's something wrong. It's been 5 years, and I'm tired of feeling like this. I deserve better, and so do you." Alex looked at Maya, surprise etched on his face. "What's wrong, Maya?" he asked, his voice hesitant. Maya took a deep breath. "I'll tell you what's wrong," she said. "I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy. And I don't think you are either." Alex tried to reassure Maya. "Don't worry, things will be fine. You just need to exercise a little patience. We don't need to go to the hospital for anything." Maya shook her head. "It's not just about patience, Alex. This has been going on for years. I think we need to see a doctor, to find out if there's something wrong." Alex dismissed her concerns. "I'm just stressed out from work, that's all. It's normal. I'm releasing on time because I'm stressed, and that's why you don't feel satisfied." Maya frowned. "It's not just stress, Alex. You don't do much at the office anymore. You come home early, you don't work late hours. I don't think it's stress. We really need to see a doctor." Alex's expression turned angry. "I said no, Maya. I don't need to see a doctor. There's nothing wrong with me. You're just being paranoid." Maya felt a surge of frustration. "I'm not being paranoid, Alex. I just want to find out what's wrong. Why can't you just listen to me?" Alex's face reddened. "I've had enough of this conversation. I'm not going to see a doctor, and that's final." With that, Alex stormed out of the room, leaving Maya alone and in tears. Maya cried out to God, "What am I going to do in this situation? Why won't he listen to me? As she sat there, feeling helpless and alone, Maya wondered if her marriage was doomed to fail. Oh. Had it been, I know I would have dated him before marrying him. God, please help me out. One faithful night, and Alex was in the mood for sex. He reached out to touch his wife, Maya, but she suddenly pushed him away. What's the point of even trying? Maya exclaimed, her voice laced with frustration. You can't even satisfy me. You just want to put me in the mood and then release on time, leaving me to suffer the rest. I don't want that tonight. Alex's face darkened with anger. What do you mean by that? He demanded. Are you saying I'm not man enough for you? Maya stood her ground, her eyes blazing with anger. I've tried everything to get you to go to the hospital for a checkup, she said. But you refused. Now, I don't even want the little affection you normally give me. I just want it all to stop, Alex sneered at her. So, you're saying I'm not man enough to satisfy you, he repeated. Maya nodded, her voice firm. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. You're not performing your duty as a man. You're not satisfying me in bed. Alex's face twisted in anger. At least I've given you 3 beautiful children, he spat. Maya shook her head. That's not the point, she said. The point is that you're not satisfying me as a man. That's your duty, and you're not fulfilling it, the argument continued, with neither side willing to give in. The tension in the room was palpable, and it seemed like the argument would never end. Maya never knew that that night would be the last time Alex would ever try to touch her. From that day on, Alex completely withdrew from Maya, refusing to even try to initiate sex. Maya was confused and hurt by Alex's sudden change in behavior. She tried to talk to him, to ask him what was wrong, but Alex just shrugged her off. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, Maya began to feel like she was living with a stranger. Alex would come home from work, eat dinner, and then go to bed, without even acknowledging Maya's presence. Maya tried to seduce him, to try and get Alex to touch her again, but he would just roll over and ignore her. It was like he had given up on their marriage. On their love life. As the months turned into years, Maya became desperate. She felt like she was dying inside, like a part of her was being slowly extinguished. She tried to talk to Alex again, to plead with him to touch her, to love her, but he just pushed her away. I'm not going to disturb you again, Alex said, his voice cold and detached. You told me to stop touching you, that I only release on time. So, I've decided to leave you alone. Maya was shocked. That's not what I meant, she said, tears streaming down her face. I just wanted you to try harder, to make an effort to satisfy me. I didn't mean for you to stop touching me altogether, but Alex just shrugged. I'm not going to argue about this, he said. I've made up my mind. I'm leaving you alone, and with that, Alex rolled over and went to sleep, leaving Maya to cry herself to sleep, feeling more alone than she had ever felt in her life. One fateful evening, Maya visited her friend, eager to confide in her about the struggles she had been facing in her marriage. As they sat down, Maya took a deep breath and began to explain. Girl, I don't know what's going on with my husband, Maya said, shaking her head. For the past 3 years, he hasn't touched me. I mean, we're talking zero sex. It's like he's lost all interest in me. Maya's friend looked at her with surprise and concern. What did you do to him? She asked, her tone slightly accusatory. Maya sighed, feeling a mix of emotions. I told him the truth, she said. I told him that he doesn't normally satisfy me. That's all. I didn't mean to hurt his feelings or anything. Her friend's expression turned stern. Maya, that was very rude and unkind of you, she said. You can't just tell a man that he's not good enough in bed. That's a huge blow to his ego. Maya felt a pang of regret. Maybe she had been too harsh. Maybe she should have found a more tactful way to express her feelings. Her friend continued, now, I'm not saying that Alex is blameless. But maybe, just maybe, he's found someone else who appreciates him. Maybe he's getting sex outside of your marriage, and that's why he's lost interest in you. Maya's eyes widened in shock. She hadn't considered that possibility. Could it be true? Was Alex cheating on me? Maya continued to pour out her heart to her friend, Sarah. I don't understand, Sarah. Even when I try to seduce him, he doesn't even notice. I dress up in sexy clothes, trying to make myself look attractive to him, but he just ignores me. It's like I'm invisible to him. Sarah listened, her expression growing more and more concerned. Maya, I'm confused. I don't understand how a man can stay with a woman for 3 years without touching her. There must be something going on that we don't know about. Maya broke down in tears, her body shaking with sobs. Why is this happening to me, God? Why did I have to marry a man who can't satisfy me? He has money, he's caring, but on bed. It's like he's a different person. I feel like I'm dying inside. Sarah rushed to console her, wrapping her arms around Maya's shoulders. Don't cry, Maya. We'll figure something out. There must be a solution to this. Maybe we can talk to a counselor or a therapist. Maybe there's something underlying that's causing this problem. Maya sniffled, wiping her nose with a tissue. I don't know, Sarah. I feel like I've tried everything. I just feel so alone and so unhappy. Sarah held her close, whispering words of comfort in her ear. You're not alone, Maya. I'm here for you. One day, Maya was browsing through a clothing store in the shopping mall when she heard a familiar voice calling out her name. She turned around to see an old friend, Michael, walking towards her with a big smile on his face. Maya's eyes widened in surprise as she hugged Michael tightly. Michael! Oh my goodness, it's been ages. How are you? Michael laughed and held her at arm's length. I'm doing great, thanks for asking. But I have to say, you look even more beautiful than I remembered. Maya blushed and playfully rolled her eyes. Thanks, Michael. You're always full of compliments. As they chatted, Maya learned that Michael was in town for business and had decided to do some shopping during his free time. They exchanged phone numbers and made plans to meet up again soon. Michael asked Maya about her husband, Alex. Maya hesitated for a moment before responding, he's fine, thanks for asking. Michael's expression turned curious, but he didn't press the issue. Instead, he changed the subject and they continued to chat until they said their goodbyes. As Maya walked away, she couldn't help but feel a spark of excitement. She had forgotten how much she enjoyed Michael's company, and she found herself looking forward to their next meeting. Little did Maya know, Michael had a secret that would worsen everything. He had been in love with Maya for years, but she had rejected him and married Alex instead. Now, it seemed like fate had given him a second chance. The day Michael and Maya agreed to see each other approached, they chose a hotel room to make themselves comfortable. Maya and Michael chatted comfortably, reminiscing about old times. But as the conversation went on, Maya began to open up to Michael about her marital problems. Michael, I have to tell you something, Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. My husband, Alex, he's not very good in bed. Michael's eyes widened in surprise. What? Alex? The Alex I knew from school? Maya nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. Yes, that's the one. I don't know what happened to him, but since we got married, he's barely been able to satisfy me. And to make things worse, for the past 3 years, he's been unable to touch me at all. Michael's expression turned from surprise to shock. That's not the Alex I knew, he said. The Alex I knew was Well, let's just say he was very confident in his abilities. He used to brag about how many women he could satisfy in one day. Maya's eyes widened in shock. What? That's not the man I married, Michael nodded. I know, I'm just as surprised as you are. But it sounds like something is really wrong here. Has Alex seen a doctor about this? Maya shook her head. No, he refuses to go. He just says that I'm being too sensitive, that I'm expecting too much from him. Michael's expression turned sympathetic. Maya, I'm so sorry. No woman deserves to go through this. You deserve to be happy, to be satisfied. Maya felt a lump form in her throat as she looked at Michael. She felt a sense of gratitude towards him, for listening to her, for understanding her. And as she looked into his eyes, she felt a spark of attraction that she couldn't ignore. The tension between Maya and Michael grew thicker. They exchanged flirtatious glances, their eyes locking in a way that left no doubt about the attraction between them. Finally, Michael reached out and took Maya's hand, his fingers intertwining with hers. Maya felt a jolt of electricity run through her body, and she knew in that moment that she was ready to take things to the next level. Without saying a word, Michael leaned in and pressed his lips to Maya's. The kiss was deep and passionate, and Maya felt herself melting into his arms. As they broke apart for air, Michael smiled at Maya and took her hand, leading her to the bed. Maya didn't hesitate, and soon they were wrapped in each other's arms. Their bodies moving in perfect sync. Lo and behold, they had sex. For the first time in 3 years, Maya felt like a real woman. She felt satisfied, enjoyed sex to the uttermost, and was grateful to Michael for giving her what she had lost for the past 8 years of her marriage to Alex. As they lay together, catching their breath and basking in the glow of their passion, Maya turned to Michael and smiled. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "Thank you for giving me back my womanhood." Michael smiled back, his eyes filled with adoration. "You're welcome, Maya," he said. "I'm just glad I could be the one to give it to you." As Maya sat alone in her bedroom, she couldn't help but feel a sense of happiness and satisfaction that she hadn't felt in years. She thought back to the previous night, when she had met Michael at the hotel and they had shared a passionate night together. Maya smiled to herself as she thought about Michael's strength and virility. "He's such a strong man of faith," she said aloud, praising Michael. "His wife is very lucky to have him. Unlike me, who's been living with someone who doesn't even know how to perform his duties well." Maya laughed to herself, feeling a sense of liberation and freedom. "I'm so glad I met Michael," she said. "Now I have someone who can satisfy me anytime I need it. I'll just call him on the phone, and he'll come and take care of me. That's what I'll be doing from now on, until my husband gets his senses back." Maya's laughter filled the room as she thought about her newfound freedom. "Oh, I'm now a real woman," she said, feeling a sense of joy and satisfaction. "I felt like a real woman last night, and I'm going to keep feeling like that from now on." As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, Maya grew increasingly worried. She had tried to contact Michael numerous times, but his number was no longer in service. She had tried to reach out to him through other means, but he seemed to have vanished into thin air. Maya's worry turned to fear as she began to feel ill. At first, it was just a slight dizziness, but as the days went by, the symptoms grew worse. Despite the medical treatment she received at home, Maya's condition only deteriorated. Finally, she decided to go to the hospital for a checkup. As she sat in the doctor's office, waiting for the results of her test, Maya felt a sense of trepidation. When the doctor finally came in with the results, Maya's worst fears were confirmed. "I'm afraid you've tested positive for HIV, the doctor said gently. Maya felt like she had been punched in the gut. She broke down in tears, sobbing uncontrollably. "Oh God, I never knew this would happen to me," she wailed. I never knew cheating on my husband would lead to this. The doctor tried to comfort her, but Maya was beyond consolation. She felt like her world had been turned upside down. I thought cheating on my husband was the best thing to do for myself, she sobbed. But it's led me to a disease with no cure. As Maya sat there, feeling sorry for herself, she couldn't help but think about Michael. Where was he now? Did he know that he had infected me with HIV? And why had he disappeared without a trace? As Maya walked back to her house, she couldn't shake off the thoughts racing through her mind. Should I tell Alex about the HIV result? She thought to herself. Or should I just keep it a secret? She thought about the implications of telling Alex. He'll probably blame me for cheating on him, she thought. He'll say it's my fault for going outside our marriage. But what if I don't tell him? Can I really keep this a secret from him? Maya thought about her marriage and how it had been struggling for years. We're basically living separate lives anyway, she thought. He doesn't even touch me or sleep with me. So, why bother telling him about the HIV? I'll just keep it to myself, she thought. And maybe, just maybe, I'll start making plans to leave him. I deserve better than a loveless marriage. Maya walked into her house, trying to compose herself. She went straight to her bedroom and hid the HIV result in a drawer under her wardrobe. I'll deal with this on my own, she thought. As she lay on her bed, she couldn't help but think about Alex and how he had contributed to her situation. If only he had satisfied me in bed, she thought. If only he had shown me some love and affection. I wouldn't have had to go looking for it elsewhere. Maya thought about her children and how she would cope with the disease. Oh God, how will I do this? She thought. How will I take care of my children while dealing with this illness? Few weeks later, Alex was frantically searching for one of his office documents in their bedroom. He was rummaging through every drawer, every shelf, every possible place where the document could be. His wife, Maya, was in the kitchen cooking, oblivious to the chaos that was about to erupt. As Alex was searching through the bedside drawer, he stumbled upon a piece of paper that caught his attention. He picked it up, and his eyes widened in shock as he read the contents. It was Maya's HIV test result, and it stated that she was HIV positive. Alex's face turned pale, and he felt like he had been punched in the gut. He couldn't believe what he was reading. He felt like his whole world had been turned upside down. He shouted for Maya, his voice shaking with anger and shock. Maya! Maya, come here now. Maya rushed into the bedroom, a look of concern on her face. What's wrong, Alex? What's going on? Alex held up the test result, his eyes blazing with anger. How could you, Maya? How could you keep this from me? You're HIV positive. How is this possible? Maya's face crumpled, and she broke down in tears. I didn't know how to tell you, Alex. I was scared. I was ashamed. Alex's expression turned from anger to disgust. Ashamed? You should be ashamed. You've been cheating on me, and now you've brought this disease into our home. How could you do this to me? To our children, Maya sobbed uncontrollably, unable to defend herself against Alex's accusations. Maya took a deep breath and began to confess to Alex. I'm so sorry, Alex. I'm so sorry for what I did. I met Michael 3 months ago, and he told me something that really surprised me. He said that you, my husband, could satisfy up to 50 girls in a day back when you were in school. Alex looked at Maya, his eyes filled with shock and anger. Maya continued, her voice shaking. I know it's no excuse, but I was weak and desperate. I felt like you weren't satisfying me, and Michael's words just fueled my desires. I'm so sorry, Alex. I succumbed to Michael's feelings, and we had sex. Maya's voice cracked as she spoke, and she broke down in tears. It's all your fault, Alex, she angrily voiced out. You didn't do anything to solve our problems. You didn't go for medication or see a doctor. You just ignored our issues, and that's what pushed me into Michael's arms, Maya sobbed uncontrollably. Please, Alex, forgive me. I know I was wrong, but I promise to make it right. I'll do anything to regain your trust and love. Please, just forgive me. Alex angrily fired back at Maya, his voice shaking with rage. Regain what? You think I can just forgive you and forget everything? Regain what trust? You've made me lose all trust in you. Maya calmly broke down in tears and sat down on the bed. Alex's expression softened slightly as he looked at her. Maya, I'm sorry too, he said, his voice cracking. I'm sorry for not being honest with you. I'm sorry for not telling you what was going on with me. Maya looked up at Alex, her eyes filled with tears. What do you mean? She asked, her voice shaking. Alex took a deep breath before continuing. I'm sorry for not telling you that my man had stopped working 3 years ago. It was after that night when I asked you for sex and you insulted me. I was so hurt and embarrassed that I just shut down. And to make matters worse, I found out that the drugs I used to take back in school to satisfy all those girls had a permanent effect on me. My manhood couldn't work again, Maya. I'm so sorry for not telling you. Maya's eyes widened in shock as she listened to Alex's confession. How could you? She asked, her voice filled with pain and anger. How could you not tell me all these years? I tried to make you see reason. I tried to make you understand what I was going through, but you ignored me. You didn't even tell me what was wrong with you. Alex looked down, shame and regret written all over his face. I'm sorry, Maya. I was too proud and too ashamed to tell you. I didn't know how to face you, how to tell you that I was no longer the man you married. Maya faced Alex, her eyes blazing with tears and anger. You were never a man since I married you, she said, her voice shaking. I was just managing you, pretending to be something you're not. But for the past 3 years, without you touching me, it pushed me into the world, into the arms of another man. Maya broke down in tears, her body shaking with sobs. Why, Alex? Why did you have to be like this? Why did you have to push me away? Alex looked at Maya, his eyes filled with regret and sadness. I know, Maya. I know it was my fault. Michael was right. I was once a man. But nobody knew that I used to take drugs, that I was a drug addict, just to satisfy those women. Maya looked at Alex. Her eyes filled with tears and pain. What are we going to do now, Alex? What are we going to do about this situation? Alex shook his head, his eyes filled with despair. I don't know, Maya. I don't know what to do. I went to the hospital for a medical checkup, but the doctor said that nothing could be done. I'm going to remain like this for the rest of my life. Maya and Alex both broke down in tears, their bodies shaking with sobs. Why, God? Maya cried out. Why did you have to do this to us? We had everything, but now I'm HIV positive, and my husband can't even stand as a man. Alex wrapped his arms around Maya, holding her tightly as they both cried out in despair. I'm so sorry. Maya, he whispered. I'm so sorry for everything. Few hours after the emotional shock, Alex and Maya sat down together, trying to process everything that had happened. Alex took Maya's hand, his eyes filled with regret and sorrow. Maya, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. This is all my fault. If only I had been honest with you, if only I had told you about my problems, none of this would have happened. Maya looked at Alex, her eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry too, Alex. I'm sorry for cheating on you, for not being patient enough to wait for you to get help. Alex squeezed Maya's hand. We can't change the past, but we can work on our future. Since I can't have sexual intercourse with you, there's no problem. We can still continue our marriage, we can still live together and take care of our children. Maya nodded, a small smile on her face. Yes, Alex. I want that. I want us to be together, to raise our children together and teach them how to be supportive of each other, how to keep their family together. Alex smiled back at Maya, his eyes filled with hope. We can do that, Maya. We can do that together. And so, Alex and Maya continued living together, raising their 3 children in a loving and supportive home. They faced challenges, of course, but they faced them together. As a team, years went by, and their children grew up to be kind and compassionate people. Alex and Maya's marriage was not perfect. But it was strong, and it was filled with love. And even though Alex was never able to regain his sexual function, he and Maya found other ways to show their love for each other. They held hands, they cuddled, they talked and laughed together. In the end, Alex and Maya's love for each other was stronger than any challenge they faced. They lived happily ever after, surrounded by their children and grandchildren, and filled with love and gratitude for every moment they spent together.